Hello, ladies. Welcome to week 7. Congratulations. We are more than halfway through this program now. So I hope you're really diving deep into the journal prompts, whether you're sharing them in the Facebook group or doing them individually. But as we talked about last week, the fall season of your love life is really about self-awareness, whether you're in a fall season solo or in relationship. It's about getting to know yourself and getting to know what you want and why you want it and how that interacts with what your potential or existing partner may see as their priorities or their values, and being able to either know what you're willing to compromise on and what you're not, or at least have those serious conversations about the give and take of that energy. So fall is very analytical, kind of tedious, and can create a lot of friction and resistance and difficulty, but you need to go through that process to find the essence of what's good there and what's growing and what's possible. So don't rush the fall season. It's probably the most uncomfortable. When you're alone, if you don't want to be alone, you want to get out of it as soon as possible. When you're in partnership, you don't want to be in conflict or have difficulty in between the summer season. But it's necessary. It's how you get to know one another and get to know yourself in the relationship, and it's actually opening doors that are going to enable you to go deeper and to get closer and develop that real connection, that authentic, energetic give and take that only comes from that fall season, opening those doors and creating opportunity for those conversations. And sometimes if we're going along and everything's great and we never fight and it's just almost too good to be true, it probably is. At some point, the universe might give you an opportunity to dive a little deeper. And that's not to say that the left shoe is going to drop and things are going to fall apart. I always invite you to learn your lessons the easy way. So if while things are all roses and butterflies, keep your heart open to the possibility that there may still be red flags. There may be a little bit of tension that comes up around certain topics or subjects or activities. And don't sweep those under the rug, because that's when they start to all of a sudden grow and fester and become something way bigger than they need to be. So in the fall season, allow things to bubble up, allow things to enter into conversation while they don't carry as much weight, and they can be just, a fluffier conversation, an easier conversation, or allow it to just educate how you, or affect how you come into a situation, because I believe everything is a reflection of our own internal well-being and beliefs and thought process. So if something kind of feels amiss or is starting to bother you, check in with yourself first. You don't even have to start a difficult conversation. You can just start with asking yourself, why does this trigger me? What is it in me that needs more healing or more love? And oftentimes you can heal relationships one-sided perfectly fine. You don't need to make it a big deal or even make it a thing with your partner. And I do a lot of self-healing because honestly, anything that bothers us is really more about us than whatever it is bothering us. So it's up to us. It's our responsibility to be self-aware and to analyze our emotions, our thoughts, and our beliefs ongoing, all the time. And if everything's going great, don't look for problems. But if you feel a hint of something, don't ignore it. Just allow it to be part of the flow and to look into it further and get curious and see why it's a thing or why it might become a thing before it does. All right, so that's the fall season that we talked about last week. So today I want to introduce how to graduate from the fall season into winter. Sometimes I swear, trying to keep the seasons straight because I'm talking about them all the time with writing my book and everything, I somehow still get them out of order. So fall eases into winter, and it has to be an intentional graduation from that season of learning lessons into winter. And the way we do that is to go through the process of self-love practices and really open ourselves up to that self-awareness process and become so in love with ourselves that we honor that we are whole, we are enough, we are complete, all by ourselves, without the other person or any other person. So to graduate from the fall season, the season of learning your lessons, it's really internalizing the belief that you are fine, even all alone, indefinitely. There's no timeline. There's no promise of anything else happening differently in the future. A full 100% acceptance of being alone. And it doesn't have to be loneliness. It can be celebrated with joy. But in fact, to graduate from the fall season, being alone no longer feels lonely. That means you're ready to graduate. It's a full body, full heart, full soul, full mind belief that you are enough and complete and whole and everything is fine even without a partner. And that is what's going to get you the ability to attract your ideal partner, to maintain that true love relationship. So you can't get to any of the other seasons until you've accepted that if none of that ever happens, you are fine. The world's going to be okay. Your life is full. Your cup is full. And you don't need anyone. All right? And that allows you to enter into future relationships with your cup already full. You have no expectations of them. You have no needs that you need them to fill for you. You fill those for yourself. That doesn't mean you don't have bad days. It just means you've done the work to know how to manage your own energy and to resource your own energy by loving on yourself. Love is an infinite resource, and it has the abundance of it available to you to love yourself, to fill yourself up, is infinite. And so you always, anytime you feel lonely or down or low, that is available to you through self-love practices like we've talked about. And it's only through those processes that you can graduate from fall. And I know for a fact, because I spent 2 decades in fall not willing to accept that I was enough without a partner. For most of it, not even knowing that that was a problem, just assuming that everyone gets married at some point and it's my job as an adolescent to meet that person and marry them. But then as, developing more and more self-awareness through that dating process and relationships, really starting to question who I was, what I wanted, what I really envisioned for my future, and who the right partner for that might be, all came out of friction and resistance and difficulty in the relationships that weren't the right ones, that were making me aware. So it was that self-awareness developing through dating that I finally could step back. And for me, it was that 30-day self-love challenge of dating myself and figuring, if I've expended all this energy for 2 decades on trying to find the one and be the right one, what if I stopped? What if I just stopped spending energy and time and effort on that search and spent it on loving myself and being myself and discovering myself and enjoying myself, and no longer giving energy to that search, and no longer making a priority, no longer having it take over my mind or my heart or my soul or the way I express myself in the world, to have no longer a consideration of what someone else might think of me or want from me or do for me or be with me, and just to do it for myself and to be myself, as myself, by myself, was my graduation from the fall season. And so today I want to go into what the winter season looks like. And winter, when you're alone, is becoming introverted and really just taking that time to assess everything that's happened up to that point and what it all means and where you want to go from here, and just relaxing, unwinding, like stopping, letting the world just stop spinning for a minute, let you hop off and relax and take a bubble bath and read a good book and call your girlfriend, and just stop. And in that, to know that you are 100% complete and whole by yourself in this introspective moment of winter, and to move forward. Now, if you're in relationship going through these seasons, that winter season, and they can be as long or as short as your beliefs allow, but winter in partnership can be that moment that you pause before you speak to actually think about what you're going to say. That can be a winter season to just recalibrate from everything that's happened up to that point and what you think about it and what you think needs to happen next, to just pause and allow it to sink in, and allow the words that you might say next or the actions that you might take next to truly be in alignment with your thoughts and your beliefs, to say what you mean and mean what you say. It takes a winter season to be able to do that. So even if it's just a brief moment of pause before you act or speak with a partner, that's a winter action. Sometimes it's if something's weighing on your mind and you're not ready to talk about it yet, but it's weighing heavy on you, and you just need to go for a drive, or you need to go hit some golf balls at the driving range, or whatever it is that just allows you to check out for a while. That's a winter season, and that happens in partnership, where you just need a moment alone to regroup, regather, recharge, and be able to come back in union more of yourself, more as yourself. A winter season in partnership can also be if you've actually had conflict and it didn't go well, or it's just not yet settled, and you take a break and both go your separate ways for a moment. And that doesn't mean a breakup. It could mean, I'm going to go to the grocery store and we can talk about this when I get back. It can be, my girlfriends and I are going to go, stay in a cabin in Tahoe for the weekend, and we'll come back to this after, I've had a chance to just disconnect and recharge and regroup, and you have the opportunity to do the same, and we'll come back together and work this out. Or it could be as significant as a separation, a breakup, a divorce. Those are a winter season. And it's allowing you, however it needs to happen, to regroup and recharge yourself. So in partnership, you still need to create space for you to charge your own batteries. And that's a winter season. So today I want to invite you to think about how your schedule looks. Do you have a time in your day that you can really just devote to silence and solitude and quiet contemplation? Do you have a time in your week that, even with relationship, that you have dedicated to just being alone for a moment? Do you have time in your year? Is there like a vacation that you always plan with your girlfriends, or even alone, just to lay on the beach and enjoy realizing who you are in that moment. And it may have changed since the previous year that you were at that beach alone. And you may have a chance to reflect on what's happened up till then and visualize what you want to happen in the future. So I highly recommend, to sustain a positive, loving relationship, to make time for solitude for both of you. It's important because it allows you to appreciate everything that's going well and to have gratitude. And when you miss someone, all of that comes to the surface, because if you're always in their presence, it can start to become where you take it for granted. And so if you have that moment of separation, and I'm talking about, you don't even text. I mean, sure, you can text good night or whatever, but it's not that constant communication. So you have stories to share with each other that the other hasn't already been a part of or already heard. So it's good to do things separately. Obviously, if it's a winter season while you're single, stay solo. Embrace it. Don't just look, for the next person that messages you on your, profile, or your friend to set you up on the next blind date. There's a time and a place for a rebound relationship, but the end of a relationship typically needs a winter season. And it can be short, but give it the time that is needed depending on what the circumstances of what led up to your winter season call for. All right? So winter is a soft energy. You turn inward, introspection, self-analysis, and visualization. So I'm inviting you to always, even when things are amazing in your summer season of true love with your forever partner, make time for occasional winter seasons so that they're intentional and on purpose with joy, instead of the relationship or the universe's circumstances smacking you with an opportunity to have to be alone for a while. Because that can happen if you haven't built it in as part of your routine. All of a sudden something happens that, work sends you to a different state for a long period of time, or an illness might cause, separation of communication for a while. Things happen, something in your family that calls you to go be with them for a while. All of that is possible with the energy of the universe responding to what you need. So if you do it for yourself on purpose, you're not inviting any of those unexpected occurrences to make it happen for you. So it's important, whether you're really down low and unhappy, that tends to bring out our winter season. But embrace it. Don't just go to the nearest bar every night and look to fill that void of loneliness. Really sit at home and be with it. And even if you're dating, whether it's one person that you're really into or several that you're kind of seeing and trying to figure it out, build into that schedule non-negotiable time that, every Thursday night is my night to just take a bubble bath, hang out with my dog, cook myself dinner, learn a new recipe, whatever that happiness list item that brings you joy in solitude. Make sure it's still part of your schedule, even when you're go dating social butterfly. And then, of course, when you're in actual relationship or marriage or whatever that partnership is, build it in there as well. It's the same with our friends. I mean, we don't have a need to talk to our friends 24/7 every day, all day. We enjoy that time of separation to be able to have stories to share with each other when we come back together. So give that same space in all of your relationships, to give it some excitement once in a while, and to build in the gratitude that it inspires while you're separated, hopefully. I think that's all I have today. So each of these, for these 4 seasons, I'll introduce that season, and the following week I'll introduce how to graduate from it, and then introduce the following season. So next week we'll talk about graduating from the winter season and what it's like to experience spring. So winter is all about that self-care. So self-care also involves creating a boundary for your energy. So self-care in relationship is looking at, if they have habits that you don't particularly enjoy or actually may have a, negative effect on you. I know some people who are very sensitive to electronics in the house. So if someone watches a lot of TV or always has music on, always has noise happening in the background, it can be very unnerving for someone who is much more of a silent type, for their atmosphere to maintain their own energy, to protect their own frequency. So if you're in a relationship, it's often that opposites attract. So just recognize if they have any habits that, it could be eating habits, it could be exercise habits, it could be noise, or just schedule. If they're a morning person, you're a night person. Take time for that self-care in your relationship to determine what your core values are so that you're not compromising anything that's important to you. But then opening yourself up to balancing that with what their core values are and what's important to them, so that both of you are getting what you need in an environment that you might share, whether it's on dates, if someone likes live music while someone else likes libraries or something. Honor both of your energy styles on your dates, or if you're in a marriage, honor both of your energy styles. One person may love to have a TV and fall asleep watching a movie, while the other person couldn't dream of having that on, whether it's the light or the noise or just activity happening while they're trying to sleep. So pay attention to what you learned in the self-care practices of the first half of this program, of what re-energizes you, and build those in to your relationship. Make space for them. It could also be their family. When you're in a marriage, you're also marrying their family. So be able to set boundaries around your energy. If they have friends that are always over at the house or want to hang out, maintain the boundaries that are most necessary for you to function at your best. So if it's, your partner's friends can come over on Friday nights or Saturday nights, but not the rest of the week because you've got to wake up early the next morning, or the mother-in-law can stay for this amount of time, or the siblings can stay for this amount of time but not any longer. Whatever that looks like for you, so that in partnership you are maintaining your energetic boundaries and conserving your energy so that you can always come into the relationship with your cup full. Other ways for self-care, obviously in partnership, what you eat. You may be coming at from 2 very different philosophies or habits. So make sure that you're honoring what works for you and what's good for you, and then being open to if something is significantly important to them as well. A vegetarian dating a meat eater, there's ways to make it work, that you honor what's important to each other, but also honor what's important to you, so that you don't feel like you've overcompromised on your own values. I had a list, so let me make sure I'm not missing anything. And one of the things that I don't know if I mentioned for graduating from the fall season, you can do it once, and it feels amazing to leave a relationship that no longer serves you, and to know that you deserve better, and to stand in that power. But if you find yourself in a new relationship that's kind of identical to the one you left, you have not left the fall season yet. So it's wonderful to say that you believe you're totally fine alone, and you spend a little time being alone, and then you get back into a new relationship and assume that might be your new summer. But really, you've just gotten yourself back into the same situation of not honoring who you are and what's true for you in another relationship. You're still just in a fall season, learning those lessons. So it may look like, going through the evolutions, and in a way it is. I mean, it takes that energy even to get into a new relationship that may be yet another learning opportunity. But recognize it. So recognize that if you get into a relationship and the energy behind it is more that, they're not quite right, but it's better than being single, that means you did not graduate into a winter season. So even if you were single for a really long time and it felt like a winter, if you go into the next relationship settling for less than you want or less than you deserve, or something that isn't authentic and true and aligned with who you are at your core, you're gonna just fall right back into learning lessons the hard way. So really, I invite you to take time for that analysis of self-awareness, learn what there is to learn from those relationships, and then sink into that energy of being okay without anyone, so that when someone does come along, you're not accepting things that you don't actually want, or dealing with things that you don't actually like. You don't have a need or expectation of them if you've already fully filled your cup and accepted that you are okay alone, which is all part of the winter process, is filling that cup, so that when you go back out into the spring and start dating again, you're not a needy energy that's going to repeat her fall lessons. You're a full, empowered, amazing, beautiful, magnetic, powerful woman that goes into her spring season ready to, fully aware of what she wants, who she is, and can magnetize that to her. That's a powerful spring season. But it all comes from stepping out of fall with that awareness that you deserve better, want better, different, whatever it is. But then realizing that you 100% are okay with being alone for a while, and then settling into that winter season to let the magic happen internally that's going to be necessary going into the right relationship in the future. So I hope that made sense. But yeah, you can repeat fall more than once. Let's see. Self-care in partnership is also knowing what your body needs at any given time. I mean, sometimes you want really hardcore sex. Sometimes you just want a foot massage and to relax and snuggle and cuddle. So self-care is making those known, self-awareness is making it known to yourself, but self-care is being willing to either let the person know or at least not say yes when you mean no. So if you're in a relationship where, I know one of you have mentioned you've been in a relationship in the past where they were more sexually outgoing than you maybe, and sometimes got you where you felt uncomfortable. Self-care in partnership is really honoring that. Sorry, my dogs are barking. Really honoring that and saying no when you mean no. It could be because you're tired, because you have a headache, because you just don't want to, because they didn't, say the right thing earlier, whatever it is. But self-care is creating boundaries that conserve your energy, and that means not giving your body when you don't have the energy to give it. So that is also part of winter season. with self-care in partnership. And same with outings. If they're a really social person and you're not, conserve your energy. Really be diligent about which invitations you're a yes to, and your energy is like, yeah, I really want to be a part of that. Let's go. And the ones where you're like, honey, you go. I'm going to stay home and read a book tonight. That's okay. That's honoring your body and your energy and your self-care. And it's important to do that in relationships, so you never grow to resent them for draining your energy, when really it was up to you to just say no. You're allowed to say no. Self-care is also knowing the activities on your happiness. So one of you I know loves skiing. So knowing that that's on your happiness list and having that self-awareness from the first season, maintaining your self-care is making space for those activities to continue even when you're in partnership. So it may be something that you continue with girlfriends. Your partner may have zero interest. So it's knowing beforehand through this self-awareness which activities are really important for you to fill your cup. And then does it matter if they share those? Is it a priority that you be able to do those together? And that'll inform your dating season and who you ultimately choose as a partner. Or is it just that you need to maintain it and you can go do it with friends, girlfriends, whatever, but you need to find a partner that is willing to let you go do those things, to not be weird about, honoring your joy, continuing even if they don't want to be a part of it. And then if there's activities that are purely for you, you don't want them to be a part of it, but you want to continue them, bubble bath or whatever it may be, painting, stuff like that, where you just need to make sure that you find a partner that appreciates the joy that brings to you and allows you to maintain the time and space to continue those activities. So all of that is part of self-care in partnership. So it's much the same things you would do in a winter season alone, but it's finding the time and space for it even when you're in partnership, and finding the partner that honors that and either accepts it or even appreciates it, for you to do that for yourself so that you can come into the relationship with your cup full. It's a benefit to them that you take time for self-care, because then you can love on them too. You're pouring out the energy from your cup instead of needing them to fill it for you. So it's of utmost importance that you continue building in these little winter seasons along your way. Dating, single, married, whenever. Maintain that time and space for self-care. I think that's all I have today. I'll pop into the Facebook group with all of the journal prompts. And as always, I will update it on our website as well if you find that to be most useful. And we'll get an email out to you with the link to this video and any assignments and journal prompts for the week. All right, ladies, I love you so much, and I look forward to seeing what you post in the Facebook group and engaging with you there. Have a great day. Bye.